Crowhool here. Today we review a Festbier and ask, does more incarceration equate to lower crime? Hey, Bigweed, fancy seeing you here.
Hello,
all right.
Crowhill. How are you?
I'm doing all
how
right.
about some beer and conversation?
I think that's a great idea. So what are we drinking?
A Festbier, you know.
Festbier,
Yes,
huh?
the summer is ending, the fall is coming, and it's time for Festbiers.
Fantastic. All right.
So what's on your mind?
Well, you know, a couple shows ago, we were talking about whether the federal government should intervene in Democrat cities that are
that whole
fall. And one issue that came up in that conversation was whether you can lower crime by sticking more people in jail.
Yeah.
And I just thought the answer was obvious.
I mean, it seems so straight up obvious,
Yeah.
but really, if you Google around and look around, I was just looking for some support on that, to bring that, but I wasn't finding a lot, and so it seemed like...
Okay, so it's a good topic, so we'll discuss that today, but first, let's get into this beer here. So this is Atlas Brewery in D.C.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a German-style lager, Festbier, but there was some twist.
What is it? The solar power? Or
No. The twist on the recipe.
It has. It says it's an American take on this German beer, and the American take is orange blossom hops. Orange blossom hop aroma.
Yeah, there is something slightly orangey going on there. Yeah. So
but
Festbier,
otherwise, the Festbier is
it's like an Oktoberfest. It's a little lighter.
It's lighter. It looks like an American Pilsner.
Yeah.
But
a little maltier.
But it's a little maltier.
Yeah,
it's got a little more kick. They're usually, the American Pilsners are in the low 4s. This thing is 6.
6.1, I think it said. But yeah, so the Festbier is actually a style I hadn't thought much about until just a couple weeks ago, and I like it. It's a slightly maltier lager and not too hoppy. It's got some toasty flavors, but this one has definitely got that orange going on.
Yes. This is totally an American take on the Festbier because
the Germans would.
We can't leave anything alone.
I know.
The Germans are going to be like, "Hey, what did you put orange in there?
Yeah, what did you do to our beer?
What about the Reichstag law of 1375?"
That's right. So this one pairs with pretzels, schnitzel, and polka. Okay. Sounds good to me.
So.
Yeah. Remember Blob's Park? Did you ever go to Blob's Park?
Yes. I mean, I tell you what, it wasn't that long ago that I went over there only to find it not there.
Yeah.
Brought a little tear to my eye.
Yeah, I know. It's sad. It was a nice place. Not that I went there a lot, but it was an interesting place.
It's nice to know that it was there.
Exactly. It was one of those kind of places that you just feel good knowing that it's there. Okay, so
all right.
Does incarceration lower
wait a
crime?
minute. You have bad guys on the street.
Yeah.
And they're victims of the crime.
Yeah.
You take those bad guys, you stick them in a jail cell.
Right.
They're not committing crime.
Right.
You just keep expanding that out.
Yeah.
Until there's more bad guys in jail, less on the street, and everybody is the town is crime free.
Yeah. So you would think
The
isn't that
logic
pretty
works.
obvious?
So obvious.
And I think
It's not even worth a show.
Well, I think it's true, but with some qualifications. And
yes, I think the people that say that sort of say in the opening line, massing increased incarceration does not correlate to lower crime.
I think they're glossing over a few things. Yeah, I think they're glossing over some things. So most crime is committed by career criminals. Okay? Something like 50% of crimes are from 5 to 10% of offenders. Because these are the career criminals. That's just like their job. They're criminals.
Right. You think you see some guy who gets caught, who's been locked up or arrested, 12 times.
Yeah.
You go, you are a really crappy criminal.
Yeah.
But not really, because if you're committing 3 crimes a week,
right, and you're only caught.
It's not like he committed 13 crimes and got caught 12 times.
Yeah.
He actually committed hundreds of crimes.
Yeah, and only got caught a couple of them.
Got caught 12 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do have this problem of career criminals, and they're committing most of the crime. And so if you lock those guys up, obviously they're not continuing to commit these other crimes.
Yeah.
So a 1980 study, it's kind of old, by the Rand Corporation, found that to be true. A 2014 study confirms this, showing that chronic offenders commit a majority of violent and property crimes. Then there's some other things from the...
So you're saying when you just increase the numbers, you're padding the cells with non-career criminals.
Well,
so you're jacking the numbers up with really not necessarily the problem people.
Yeah, so that's where we get into the question of, does increased incarceration lower crime?
Right.
Because if you're locking up the career criminals, obviously that lowers crime. But just if you put more people in jail,
right.
Like if you're taking the non-career criminals and you're putting them in jail.
So, yes, I think a lot of people were referring to the Clinton years crack epidemic.
Yes.
When now you're not putting... you're not filling the spaces with violent offenders.
Just people who had a crack problem. So
right.
that's really the issue. If you start filling up the prisons with people who are non-violent, like people who just have drug problems, and you're sticking them in jail, then that kind of increased incarceration does not lower crime, because those guys, they're committing crimes. They're illegally buying drugs, illegally taking drugs, but they're not going around robbing people and that sort of thing. So those are it's the difference between the violent and the non-violent.
So what is on the minds of the Soros soft on crime prosecutors and judges?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
What are they hoping for?
Yeah, they're not going, I want my city to be filled with crime.
Yeah.
So, in their liberal minds, what do they think?
So, a couple things. One is they're looking at these statistics that show that it is true that there is not a straight line correlation between putting more people in prison and decreasing crime. Right, so
they figure we got that on our side.
Yeah, so that is actually true, but it's because you're mixing a bunch of categories together that you shouldn't be mixing together. Right. However, that is true. So that's part of it. Another part of it is they're saying, look, we should be focusing more on rehabilitation and
restorative
justice and that kind of stuff, rather than just putting people in jail. Because if you think about it, jail is like crime school. You go in there and you learn how to be a better criminal from the other criminals that you're around. It's not like crime is rehabilitating you in any sense. So they're thinking, let's get away from this idea of just warehousing people where they learn how to be better criminals from other criminals, and instead let's have other programs and things.
But do they?
Well,
I mean,
do they actually do that?
Right. I mean, so the guy who's it's his fourth time. Mm-hmm. So I understand giving people second chances. Mm-hmm. Now he's on his fifth or sixth time.
Yeah.
And they say, all right, you promise not to do it again? All right, we don't want to lock this guy up because we're going to ruin his chance to do whatever. But is there like a Jobs Corps, a mentorship program,
right.
Drug health rehab? If all of that's waiting for him. So I was talking to a retired police officer, and he's like, the only times I've actually seen people turn their way around is when you have like ex-military mentorships.
Yeah.
Job programs, but he's like, and he says, so it works, but can you have a team of people to hold somebody accountable for every person?
Right. Yeah. And another thing that works is like the Salvation Army works. They reform people, right. And I'm sure there are programs that actually work in helping people to get out of that life and change their life, turn everything around. I get that, and obviously that's preferable. I would rather have people do that than just sit and rot in jail. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, that excuse, that like, oh, wouldn't this be better, is used as an excuse to turn violent repeat criminals back out on the streets. Like this guy just recently, we had that beautiful Ukrainian woman who got stabbed on the metro in Charlotte, right? By some guy who just should not be on the street. He was a repeat violent offender.
Like at least once a week, there's a story of, some heinous crime.
Yeah.
And they look at his background, and everybody agrees, well, this guy should never have been on the street. So who's making that last that decision, the 14th time that a guy who's already been committed for schizophrenia,
right?
Even the involuntary commitment is only lasts 2 weeks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All of this. You're reading the whole history.
Yeah.
You say, we'll get into no cash bail. No cash bail. What do you think this guy's going to do?
Yeah. Well, there is, unfortunately, when you're dealing with somebody who has a drug problem or a mental health problem or something like that, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do in our current system. If they voluntarily go into treatment, then that's one thing, but you can't force them in, because there was some Supreme Court case a while ago.
Yeah, and Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If they're not a clear threat to themselves or other people, you can't hold them. Well, the problem is these people can get it together for long enough
and because you're giving them medication.
Right. Yeah.
And then they seem perfectly fine, and then they go before the court.
Yeah.
And
you seem fine. You're not a threat to yourself.
Gosh, I feel a lot better. I'm not the guy I was before.
Yeah.
And then you stop taking the meds.
Right.
And you're not. So I don't know.
I went around and around in that with somebody very close to me, and it was torture, because it was, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're standing before the judge saying, look, this is what's going to happen. And the judge is like, yeah, but I can't take your word for it,
right.
And
the other thing, the precogs of Minority Report.
Yeah. So
you've got a guy in front of you, you're as a judge.
Yeah.
And you're like, basically going to ruin this kid's life by giving him 3 years in jail. But he has shown himself to be a menace to society. Mm-hmm. How do you know that this is going to be the break that makes him get his act together?
Yeah.
As opposed to, really, you're just asking for one more victim.
That's why, I really wish there was a modern equivalent to Australia. The Brits used to, when they had situations like that, just ship them off to Australia. And what a great idea.
The fact is, there are so many absolutely useless people.
Yeah.
People who will never contribute, who will cost society way more.
Yeah.
But, until they murder somebody. So you're in a way you're just like, wait, you're going, well, one day that guy's going to murder somebody.
Yeah.
But I can't lock him up.
I can't do
as a precog.
Yeah.
Like, we know he's going to murder somebody, so let's just lock him up now.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I guess we'll just have to wait till he does it.
Yeah. And then somebody.
I saw an interesting point. A guy said, if a bartender overserves somebody, and then they go and wreck their vehicle,
right?
You can charge that guy, but you can't charge a judge for turning loose. I thought it was a pretty good analogy.
That's pretty good analogy. That is a pretty good analogy.
Well, you should have known.
You turned this guy loose.
This guy's arrested 14 times. Everybody knew.
Yeah.
He had no place to go. His own parents didn't want him.
Right.
He's a schizophrenic and a violent person.
Yeah.
You let him out anyway.
Yeah.
This is on you.
Yeah. Now, there's another angle to this whole thing that I wanted to bring up, which is the more... Look, we're basically talking about men. I mean, men commit most of the crimes. The more you incarcerate men, the more you have children growing up without fathers. And that causes more crime. So back to this question of...
You've already got a father problem as it is.
Exactly. So we get back to this question, does incarceration lead to lower crime? Well, up to a point it does, but beyond that point, it causes more crime, because what you're doing is you're taking all the fathers out of the community, and now you have boys being raised with no fathers, and what's going to happen to them? Right. They're going to become criminals.
The idea is making this decision is going to benefit the community until you get to the point where it's not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
right.
The families are all broken up, and I mean, I don't know how you know who's who, but there's also look, the North Carolina guy, can't we at least have standards that say this is the kind of guy that we cannot... 14 is enough. I mean, it's 3 strike. We had 3 strike rule there for a while. I don't know what happened to that.
So, to me, it seems pretty clear that violent offenders need to be put away.
Yes.
And now, in terms of, okay, somebody's arrested for having some crack cocaine or whatever, then that's not a violent offense.
Right. Burglaring, looting. I mean, they're not good, but you're not putting a gun in anybody's face.
Yeah. Now, property crime, there might be a question about that one with the looting, but I would be happy to just draw the line on violence. You commit violence, you go to jail. No fooling.
And a 3 strikes kind of a thing. It's like, all right, the violation that you just did is a 2 to 5 years, and this time we give you 2, and then the next time we give you 3, and then the third time, it's not 2 to 5 anymore.
Right.
Because you're back here again. Now
you've demonstrated that
we're
you're
into
useless.
15 or whatever.
You've demonstrated that you just don't learn.
Then, I don't know if this story's going to be too long. This French writer who was a criminal. He was raised, born to a prostitute and raised in the streets.
Yeah.
But was apparently brilliant and eventually became a famous writer and all. But he was sentenced to prison. The term they had was incorrigible. So it wasn't any specific crime. It was, you have demonstrated that you are never going to get any better. And so there's a different sentencing for that. So, okay, yes, it was just burglary. But burglary is, 18 months.
Yeah.
But it's your 18th burglary.
Yeah.
It's not 18 months anymore. It's life or whatever.
There's a proverb that says, though you pound a fool in a mortar and pestle along with crushed grain, still his folly will not depart from him. I mean, there are some people who they're just stupid. They're just fools. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can't fix them.
And we've run out of Australias.
That's right. Yeah, and I wish we had one. I mean, maybe we can turn Mars into Australia and just send criminals to Mars. But... So I think the answer to the overall question, does incarceration lower crime? Not just blanket statement, no, that's not true. But if you're putting away career criminals, you're putting away violent criminals, yes, absolutely, it stops crime.
Yes, and all of this, well, there's the racial aspect.
Yeah.
So I think the Soros soft on... is because we have a disproportionate number.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen some people do it. Have you seen any of these where someone will show a, the information on jail is public record. You can go and see. And the number of black people who are listed as white.
What?
Yeah, you're like that. So the Hispanic guy, I mean, he's, I don't know, he's fairly light skinned. Maybe you could squeeze that one by, and then you'll just see straight up black guys there. And I think it's just
listed
people
as white. What does that mean?
I mean, race, height, weight,
and they'll just lie about it.
It just says it. Yes, but and I think this is it. It's like they have the assistant attorney general or whatever going to the prisons and saying, we don't like your numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll go. Well, I got one way to fudge it.
Right.
You can either keep white guys in jail longer than they need to be.
Yeah.
Or how about this? We'll just change a couple of these light-skinned guys.
I know a white guy who got really abused by the Baltimore court system.
Right.
And I am convinced that the reason was we needed to get the numbers better.
I think you're entirely right.
Yeah, that we need to show that we're rough on white guys, just like so.
So there's some of that going on in terms of releasing people. Then the no cash bail is, why do poor people get? I'm just a little sympathetic to this.
I am very sympathetic to it because, okay, so you got some guy, he's trying to do his best. He's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got a job, and he does something. He doesn't pay a ticket or whatever it is. He does something, or maybe he doesn't do something and he's falsely accused. But in any event, it's some offense, and now you're going to put him in jail for 45 days until they can have a hearing about this thing. He loses his job. His wife leaves him. How is this helping him?
Right. Well, yeah, but I mean, the matter is that two guys committing the same not too serious crime.
Yeah.
Both get $50,000 bond.
Yeah, one guy can do it.
One guy's, $5,000 is not that big a deal. The other guy it is. I mean, why is that the case?
Yes. So I don't like that whole scenario. I mean, I understand the point of bail, but the solution to this is to have.
It's going to keep. I mean, the idea is. Otherwise, what's your incentive to come back?
Yes, I understand that. So the solution is to have
to $5,000. I mean, to $45,000 to the bail bondsman, and he's going to come find me.
Part of the solution is to have faster trials, is to get people through the system more quickly. But also, there's got to be a technological solution where you put a anklet on somebody or something like that. You know,
I know. Did our North Carolina guy even get that? I don't think so. And,
no.
Even if it was $10,000, he had to come up with $1,000. What they were saying was, he'd come up with $1,000. His mom would not have come up with $1,000.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody would. They'd be like, you know what? We want him. We who know him, you judge, you don't really know this guy. We who know him, we like him in jail. And he would have been in jail instead of stabbing a beautiful Ukrainian refugee.
Yeah, she was quite beautiful. I've seen some pictures of her. So we need to imprison violent people. We need to imprison career criminals. We don't need to imprison non-violent people to the extent that we are. But there's a lot of things about the criminal justice. I'm not a fan of Justice Ketanji Jackson Brown, but the one thing that I thought she might bring to the court that I was encouraged about is she used to be a public defender.
Right.
And I think I want more people coming from that perspective to show how the system is.
Yes, they've seen how
the system screws people over. And so I was hoping that we would get more of that. I haven't seen any evidence of that, because I think if somebody made me the mayor, I would call in the public defenders and say, what's wrong with our system?
Yeah, I know that both Baltimore and Washington, I get for good-hearted liberal reasons, we're like, I mean, these are just kids. They're 13, 14, 15 years old. I know. Sticking them in jail-like facilities.
I know. It's horrible.
But
on the other hand, they're rotten.
Yes, they are awful. And and there's no parental guidance. Yeah. And they already know the system. So this guy get in D.C. He says, I've been arrested 6 times.
Right.
And he says, they just keep letting me go.
I know.
It's just a matter of fact.
It's the way it goes.
He's like, hey, just do it.
If they're going to keep letting me go,
I guess I'll keep doing my thing.
I guess I'll keep doing my crime. Yeah.
So but building more juvenile jails.
I know. It's a horrible thing. It's a horrible. Can you imagine the weight of, you have this 13-year-old who's joined a gang and killed somebody, and now you're going to be putting him away. That's the end of his life.
Before he started his life.
I know, and that's a horrible thing.
He's done everything.
But what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Let him out on the street to do it again? Right. Yeah, it's terrible. The whole situation is pretty awful.
All right, I don't think we solved anything, but I would say the idea of just the blanket statement of increased incarceration, does not reduce crime is a little too simplistic.
Yes, it is too simplistic.
I think that you haven't broken down who it is and under what circumstances.
It's really a question of who you're incarcerating. That's the question. Right. Just but mass
it does seem like
incarceration.
There's this willy-nilly in the places where there's high crime. There does seem to be a lax view of locking people up. Yeah, especially crazy people, and so yes, maybe bring back the home for the criminally insane. Do we have the forced?
Yes, forced treatment for people. Yeah, because for example, that guy who stabbed the Ukrainian woman, they say that he was insane. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't care if he's insane. He's out there committing violent acts. That's not that he's insane. God can deal with that. But as far as earthly justice is concerned, he's committing violent acts. He should be in jail, period.
Yeah. I mean, you could, to a degree, you could almost say it's not his fault.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's not.
I mean, people with schizophrenia something's going on in their brains and it's not working quite right. But you don't get a free pass.
Exactly.
You still need to protect everybody else just because, there could be a lot of things wrong with with how you're wired from birth.
Yes.
Or from drug abuse or whatever.
Maybe you got a real bad deal of the cards.
Yes. And you have no impulse control.
Right. Whatever
it's not my fault. My frontal lobe is diminished for some reason from a car accident.
Yeah.
And I can't stop myself from being violent.
And maybe that's all true. But
it's
still,
not your fault. True.
You're being violent.
We are removing you from polite society.
Exactly. Because it doesn't matter why you're that way. You are that way.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
We need to be protected.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Lock 'em up.
Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.